Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you've glanced at the stock market lately, you know it has just been on an absolute tear. This massive, historic boom, it's largely being driven by just 7 companies that are completely pushing the boundaries of artificial intelligence. These tech giants are soaking up investor cash at a rate we've literally never seen before, to the point where they now make up over a third of the entire S&P 500 index. It's an incredible time for growth, for sure. But here's the catch. It's all built on a seriously fragile foundation.
Take Nvidia, for example. We are talking about a $4.5 trillion giant. Investors are pricing in such wild growth expectations that Nvidia has a price-to-earnings, or PE, ratio of 50. To put that into perspective, that essentially means if the business stayed exactly as it is today, it would take 50 years for you to make back your initial investment. The market is basically assuming this explosive growth is just never going to stop. Okay, let's dive into this and look at the hidden bottlenecks that threatens this entire setup.
What we're dealing with here is the Magnificent Seven dependency. The demand for Nvidia's AI chips, the H100s and the upcoming B200s, is just absolutely monumental. Out of all the top tech giants, practically everyone is lining up, checkbook in hand, begging to buy Nvidia chips to power their massive data centers. The only major holdout is Apple, since they design their own custom silicon. But the big picture is super clear. The entire global tech ecosystem is intensely reliant on one single point in the supply chain.
Section 1. The Great Chip Illusion. Who really makes them?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it dismantles a massive assumption we all tend to make. When we hear about Nvidia or Apple making the world's most advanced chips, our natural instinct is to picture them running these massive factories, churning out physical hardware, right? Well, actually, scratch that. There is a huge divide between the designers and the manufacturers. Nvidia and Apple don't actually build anything physical at all. Their insane valuations come entirely from intellectual property. They're the architects. They draw up the impossibly complex blueprints, they design the software stacks, they figure out the power efficiency, but they do not assemble the final products.
The company that actually builds the physical hardware is TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. And we really need to emphasize the T in that acronym. This single company is the sole manufacturer of the world's most desired chips. The M series that powers your MacBook, the A series in your iPhone, Nvidia's entire A100, H100, H200, and B200 lineup, all of it. Every single bit of this massive AI revolution runs straight through this one, single, indispensable company.
And that T for Taiwan? Well, that is exactly why the global economy is kind of holding its breath right now. U.S. intelligence currently projects that Chinese forces are preparing to potentially invade Taiwan by the year 2027. And to back up that assessment, intelligence points to the rapid construction of 70 new commercial ferries that are perfectly capable of transporting troops and armored vehicles, scheduled to be finished by 2026. Toss in the increasingly large-scale military drills happening right around the island, and, well, you start to see the picture.
So this isn't just some distant geopolitical debate, right? It's an immediate, real-world supply chain risk. Listen to this quote straight from TSMC themselves. Moving its fabs out of Taiwan would be basically impossible. When you realize that 80 to 90% of the world's most advanced AI chips are manufactured on an island facing this level of military tension, that is a terrifying bottleneck in modern economic history.
Section 2. Why switching fabs fails. Why can't Apple and Nvidia just take their designs to another manufacturer?
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why they can't. To really get it, you have to wrap your head around the mind-bending technological reality of this hardware. Look, a single human hair is about 70,000 nanometers thick. The transistors on these advanced chips, they are just 3 nanometers thick. 3! That is thousands of times smaller than a single strand of hair. It's almost impossible to comprehend.
You absolutely cannot just buy a warehouse and start building things at this microscopic level. The barriers to entry are practically insurmountable for a newcomer. First off, you have to buy these extreme ultraviolet lithography machines from a Dutch company called ASML. These cost up to $400 million each, and honestly, there are only a few hundred of them in existence on the entire planet. Second, you need decades of incredibly specialized software experience just to run the things. And third, you need ultra-specialized, highly localized supply chains built up around the factories. But what about Samsung? They're basically the only other option out there with somewhat comparable tech. Well, here's the problem. Samsung struggles massively with yield issues. That means a huge percentage of their chips just come out defective. When you are manufacturing a $30,000 GPU at scale, taking a 20% loss on a defective batch is, well, it's financially devastating.
In fact, Nvidia actually tried to use Samsung's 8nm process for their RTX 30 series back during the pandemic, and the losses were so bad that they went running straight back to TSMC for their next generation.
Section 3. The American Factory Mirage.
Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't the U.S. pass the CHIPS Act? Isn't TSMC building factories in Arizona right now to solve this exact problem? Well, let's look at why that solution kind of falls short. Just because you throw money at a factory doesn't mean you can instantly replace Taiwan. The original goal for that first Arizona fab was to start producing chips in 2024. That's already been pushed back to late 2025, maybe even 2026. And the second site? We probably won't see that fully operational until 2028. Rebuilding this level of infrastructure takes a solid decade, not just a couple of years.
And that's because these aren't your typical factories. Stepping inside one of these fabs is literally like walking onto a sci-fi movie set. They cost tens of billions of dollars to build. The air inside is actually cleaner than a hospital operating room. The workers have to wear these full-body bunny suits just to prevent shedding a single solitary speck of dust. Because seriously, one tiny microscopic particle can ruin an entire wafer worth millions of dollars. The level of precision required is just staggering. So the crucial point is really the human element, specifically the talent gap. You simply cannot replicate decades of localized 3nm and 4nm technical know-how overnight. When TSMC first set up in Arizona, they almost immediately realized the local U.S. workforce just lacked the specialized expertise they needed. It was so bad they actually had to fly engineers in directly from Taiwan just to get the precision machinery working. And here's the real kicker. Even when these U.S. plants do finally open, they're only going to be starting with older 4nm tech, not the cutting-edge 3 or 2nm chips the industry is rapidly moving toward.
Section 4. The Global Tech Fallout.
Legendary market analysts like Steve Eisman have highlighted a really serious systemic risk here regarding what actually happens if these geopolitical threats materialize. Look, if a conflict broke out and Taiwan was occupied, TSMC would essentially be dead in the water. These fabrication plants rely entirely on a web of global inputs. We're talking specialized chemicals, high-end machinery from Europe, and absolutely crucial software from the United States. Under an occupation, all those supply lines would just instantly freeze. On top of that, it's been widely reported that Washington has contingency plans to remotely disable or even destroy the factory tools rather than let such vital technology fall into opposing hands. The factories simply wouldn't be able to run.
This all builds into a much larger picture of global leverage. China already controls over 90% of the world's rare earth refining, which gives them immense power over things like electric vehicles, batteries, and defense equipment. If you were to hand them control of TSMC on top of that, the economic leverage they would hold over the West would be absolutely catastrophic. It would be a monumental, unprecedented shift in global power.
Which leaves us with this massive, unavoidable question. If one small island goes offline, what happens to the global tech economy? Because this isn't just about stock prices. It's about your daily life. An interruption in Taiwan means Apple stops making iPhones. It means Amazon's cloud servers grind to a halt. Tesla, Google, Meta, the entire infrastructure of our modern digital world just freezes up. This $4.5 trillion AI boom is an absolute miracle of human engineering, but as we've seen today, it's balanced on a very, very fragile house of cards. So what will our digital future look like if that one critical choke point snaps? Think about that. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.